Hey, it's Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and this episode is bordering on almost the beginning of my third year here on YouTube. And I decided to post onto the community page on the YouTube channel, and I asked people to ask questions that they may want answered. Have you ever thought about doing a collaboration build with some other customizer where both of you do different parts? The short answer is no. I'm a control freak. I like to have, if I'm building something, I want to build it 100% on my own and live and die by it. If it sucks, it sucks. If it's great, great. But to do a piece and then send it off to somebody else to do a piece, that's just not my thing. I'm not interested. But I like the idea. But for me personally, I can't see myself doing that at all. So the most asked question, surprisingly, was, everybody knows I love Chevelles. I've owned 3 or 4 personally, and I collect them as far as diecast goes. The question is what's my favorite casting? Actually, it's a two-part. What's my favorite casting from Hot Wheels aside from the Chevelle, and is there another manufacturer that I have a favorite casting? So I'll answer the second part. No. As far as the second manufacturer, I don't really collect anything but Hot Wheels. I have some Matchbox Chevelles and some miscellaneous stuff that I had when I was a kid, but none of them are my favorite. I don't have one that I'm like, I have to buy. There's nothing I really care about from Matchbox or any other manufacturer that I've found that I just really have to have. So maybe someday, but as far as Hot Wheels goes, I have two favorites aside from the Chevelles. Take those out of the equation. And this probably won't be much of a surprise to people who watch the channel. It would be Supervans, and not sure why. I had a bunch growing up, and I lost a bunch growing up. So as an adult, I just started collecting them. I don't have a ton, nowhere near like the 300 or whatever I have for the Chevelles, but I do have a decent collection. Just some various ones here that, nothing, this one's in really good shape. This one's in good shape. This one's in good shape. That's in good shape. This is mediocre. A lot of these just need to have something done with them. But aside from that, the Mighty Maverick. Not sure why. This one's kind of beat. But the Mighty Maverick was always just one car that, when I saw it, I'm like, I have to have them. Problem is, they're so freaking expensive. So another question I got, which I thought was a good question, and it was a very easy question, so I'm tackling some of the easy ones first. Peter asked, will I ever do a 1/24th scale Gaslands type car? Peter, yes. Not only will I do it, I've already done it. If you recall, I will put a link up in the card section here. I did this little gem, this Jada Toys, I believe it was Jada, Big Time something or other muscle, I don't know. But anyways, I've got a full video on that. I will make sure to post that. I actually had a blast doing this. It took forever, but it was definitely a fun car to do. So that was an easy one. Yes. Yes. What does a car guy use to hold down his canopy when it's windy and shitty out in New England? Ratchet straps. So anyways, I'm outside taking a break. We're getting some much needed rain here in New England. It's been probably about a month since we've had any significant rain at all. Starting to get some fires. Nothing major, nothing like California, but the rain is welcome. But it's windy as all get out, and I'm going to try to make this somewhat quick as I hear a hurricane coming through. I don't know if the mic will pick it up or not. The next question is, what got me into the hobby? And the big thing for me was I was looking for something to de-stress. I'm a very high-strung person that I always have to be doing something and creating, whether it be working on real cars or whatever. Money was tight at the time, and big mistake because this isn't cheap. And I was just looking for something to keep my hands and my mind busy when I got out of work. And I think it was 2006, maybe even earlier, I had stumbled across a Hot Wheels forum where people were building, I think, dairy deliveries and stuff at the time. That was the hot thing. And I kind of got into it. I bought a bunch of stuff, and I just never did anything with it. I just didn't have the time. My kids were younger. It just got crazy. So one morning I got up and I started searching on YouTube, and I stumbled across Bare Metal HW. And I got hooked again. That led me into a rabbit hole, and I'm sure most of you can understand this, of one video, I think Wheels and Things, Marty, all those guys are huge factors in me getting into this hobby again. That leads to another question of who do I look up to? It would be those three guys. I don't think anybody does anything anymore except for once in a blue moon, except for Marty, which I watch consistently. Even though it's Matchbox and it's not my thing, I draw inspiration from the way he films and what he does. But once I got the videos lined up, I just spent like 3 days watching everything. And I just started ordering stuff. And I did a little bit at a time. I started with a bone shaker where I just stripped the paint and left it bare metal. Did a quick wheel swap from some Jada Toys wheels that I had kicking around. So I started with almost nothing. I didn't have an airbrush. I didn't have anything. I had some paints. I think I spent maybe $50 on miscellaneous crap that I needed, that I thought I needed. And I pretty much went through these guys' lists. They had lists of tools and stuff that they used, so I just would check things off. And every week I'd buy something extra and something extra. And I just found that, I mean, granted, I was videoing it, and I started videoing it right away. So if you go back and look at my early videos, they are freaking horrible. Not that these ones are probably much better, but it was more, I knew right away that I wanted how it made me feel, and how I thought that if I videoed it, I could help other people maybe feel the same way, even if only one person can come home after work and de-stress, or a veteran with PTSD finds some solace in doing something like that. To me, it's worth it. And the stories, I mean, that kind of got me into it, was watching the old videos again. But what keeps me going is the stories that I hear from people saying that they really like doing it because it helps them. So that's how I started, and that's why I keep going. All right, I'm going to get some coffee. Another question people ask is, well, actually, Diecast Maniac asked, and it's a good question. Can you start a YouTube channel on a budget? The short answer is yes. You can pretty much start a YouTube channel. I mean, YouTube's free. If you're already building die-cast cars, let's subtract all the material that you use out of the equation, and we'll just talk the channel itself and YouTube. YouTube is a weird animal, and really all you need is obviously a YouTube account. You need a camera, which cell phones take perfectly good video. So, and some sort of editing software. If you got an iPhone, iMovie, or anything like that, works. It's not, your production quality counts, but it's more about the content. Obviously, you got to do a good job, but what you see and what you ultimately, hold on, there we go. Ultimately, it's all about how you film and what you film, and very importantly, what you don't put in. Just because you film something doesn't mean you have to show it. I film, I don't know, for a 15-minute video, I probably have an hour and a half's worth of content. You gotta keep it flowing. You know, you gotta keep people interested. You know, I mean, granted, you can do a video as long as you want, but you're gonna lose interest. People are gonna lose interest. So, you know, again, the answer is yes. I highly recommend some lights that, you know, having a well-lit area. Being well-lit is very important. And again, you can upgrade your cameras as time goes on. I have two, aside from my phone, which I mainly only use for pictures on occasion. I have a Canon. There we go. I have a Canon. I obviously don't have a mount for my GoPro. A GoPro and my iPhone. So I alternate. I use the GoPro like right now, or if I'm doing a time lapse. That's about it. But I could film the whole thing of the GoPro, just like you can film the whole thing with an iPhone. So, you know, I guess budget-wise, for you know, I'd recommend a camera mount of some sort if you're going to use your cell phone. I'd recommend a decent editing program. I use Adobe products, and I use Filmora, which is a very, very good option if you're on a budget. And you can pretty much do 90% of what you need to do with that. I've got all of them. I've got Sony Vegas, I've got Adobe Premiere, I've got Filmora 9. I've been using Filmora a lot lately, so, and that's very, 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 very affordable. You know, in a computer, obviously, I mean, if you're using just your cell phone, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie. I've never had to do it, but I know it's a little bit of a struggle. But having a desktop or a laptop or something like that where you could actually download a real program would be helpful. So, again, the short answer is yes, you can start on a budget. The long answer is you still, you know, have to have a little bit of an investment. And it's not just money, it's time. YouTube sucks up a lot of time. So, and you can get wrapped up in it. I mean, I follow a bunch of YouTubers that talk about how to be successful on YouTube. You know, there's a lot to it. I mean, you see these people that have 1 million views and, you know, 1 million subscribers, and it's not that easy. There is a formula, and even that doesn't work all the time. I'm still playing around with it. I don't pay that much attention to it anymore, to comments, negative comments, positive comments, what my views are, what my income is, because it's dropped dramatically. It's the only thing I know. I don't even know when it gets deposited. I shut off my alerts. So, you know, the big thing, if you're talking about being on a budget, is whatever it takes to give you decent production value up front. And you can do that on the cheap. The biggest investment for me was all the crap I used to customize cars. So if you got all that, you're golden. The rest you could start with the phone and work your way up if you find that you enjoy it and you're successful at it, or you want just to do a better production. But you can start off with almost nothing. You know, get your feet wet and see where you want to go from there. But all right, I'm at Dunkin's. I need my iced coffee before I go into convulsions. Oh, there's a nice long line. I like that. I can still talk. Holy crap. It's freaking 9:20 in the morning. These people have work. So, since I have time, I brought my list with me. Let's see what else I can answer. See, where do you get your aftermarket wheels and tires? I get a lot from the cars that I've purchased. I belong on a lot of auction sites on Facebook, but most of them I get from Treads 164 Diecast. I believe he's out of Malaysia. I don't know where he gets them, to be honest with you. And it does take a long time to get here, especially like during the pandemic. It took forever. because they have to clear customs. So sometimes customs takes a week, sometimes it takes a month. It is what it is. I make sure I order, $100 at a time, so that way, it's not a big deal. I always have something. He's got a killer collection to choose from. And when I get to the point where I maybe have, I'm halfway through, I'll put another order in, depending upon what I've been using. So, Treads 164 die cast, but I highly recommend some 3D printed ones are really coming a long way in the last year. Rogue Syndicate Parts is another place, and Bearcat 3D Designs. If you're doing Gasland style stuff, there's a million places out there. So, yeah, you're cool. But anyways, that would be that question. I'm almost up to the speaker box where I get to speak into the bunny's nose. So I will check back with you when I'm home. So the next question asks what my favorite build is, and here it is. It's the Charity 55 that I did, and it raised, along with a ton of YouTubers who all pitched in for a benefit to help a fellow customizer out with some medical bills and stuff. I think combined we did almost $1,200 that we raised, just by building cars, posting videos, and then auctioning them off. So plus it came out really good. I think I put a lot of effort into this one, more than I normally do. I'm self-admittedly, at times I get lazy. So, but this was probably my favorite build. I think it ended up with Mr. Jim Silva, if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. It's been a while. But by far, this is my favorite build. So the final question is there any car, any scale, any brand, whatever, that I'm dying to get my hands on and customize? It's a tough one. That's probably the hardest question. The answer isn't easy. I mean, I pretty much have, God, I get just about everything I could ever want for castings. But if I had to pick, I would probably say I'd like to get a Chevelle and do it. When I was in high school, I had a 65 Mustang that, being in New England, both shock towers shit the bed and broke at the same time, and so I ended up getting rid of it. And I got a 72 Chevelle. That was my first Chevelle. It was Malibu 307, gold, black vinyl top, black interior, bench seats, hubcaps, you name it. So I put some Kragers on it, and then I slowly did stuff to it. I upgraded the motor, I put a Cowell induction hood on it, I painted it gunmetal silver, I whacked it into a wall, hydroplaning, and then primered it, then painted it 72 Super Sport cranberry red. I want to do a 72 Chevelle for every stage of that car's life. So gold with hubcaps. I want to do gold with a little bit of primer. I want to do gunmetal with a Cowell induction hood, gunmetal with primer and a Cowell induction hood, then finally all primer, and then the cranberry red. Again, these are all black vinyl tops, so I think I'd like to do those if I ever have the time. Trying to put out videos every week makes it tough. So, but anyways, that's it. That was the final question, and I hope you guys found this somewhat informative. And if I didn't scare you off, I will catch you on the next one.